Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So today is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. This is a live show 1242. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, normally talking about the tabletop gaming news of the day, and then I will take a first look at a game. Maybe I'll unbox a board game or normally page through a role-playing game. Well, tonight, we're not tackling any tabletop gaming news because it's time for our Paizo preview for October 2025. We are going to take a look at the items arriving for Pathfinder and Starfinder from Paizo Inc. They are slated to arrive in stores on the 8th of October. Very nice. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then lastly, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Cthulhu. Mike is with us, as is Semper Buffo, Michael Berry, Kevin R. Smith, our good friend of the show, the Madman, is done sweating the Detroit Tigers game. Congrats on that game. That was a tight one. Pete Strakolich is also with us, and I will take a guess. The lovely and talented Miss Sarah D might be hanging in chat with us as well. She is another of our chat moderators. So welcome aboard, everybody. Really bizarre last few minutes before we went live. So I'm down here in the Duct Tape Studios getting everything ready. And I get a notice, oh, there's a new Windows update. You know, that's never a good idea, right? Never a good idea. But stupid me, I figured, okay, it says it takes 3 minutes. It is 22 minutes before the stream starts. So I said, yeah, okay. The update finished up about 60 seconds before the stream was scheduled to start. I'm like, really? Seriously? Are you kidding me? Sitting there, I'm staring at it. It's like 30%, 30%, 30%. I was like, what the? So yes, Sarah D is with us. And the Madman says they were sitting on the edge of their seat. That'd be an understatement for this afternoon's game. Looks like it's a tight game between the Red Sox and the Yankees, too. It was 1-0 last I looked. That's kind of what you get when you get to the point where you've got playoff baseball. Pretty low-scoring, close games. So very nice. Before we start jumping on into our Paizo preview, do want to mention Sammy reviewed Pathfinder Game Night, Dawn of the Frogs. So if you are curious about this, I know I shared a first look a little earlier this month for the game night, which actually turns out to be kind of a starter set. Not a full-fledged starter set, but you can kind of run the adventure right out of the box. Although, I don't recall this having dice. I think you need your dice. Anywho, if you are curious about that, by all means, take a peek at that review. In fact, 3 reviews up this weekend. I'll talk about those in a little bit. But we are going to dive on into our Paizo preview. That's right. We've got 4 items we are going to be taking a peek at tonight, starting with the Pathfinder Flip-Mat Command Center. This carries an MSRP of $19.99. If you want to just grab the PDF, you'll be able to do so for $9.99 on October 8th. So Kevin R. Smith says they read the review. She liked it, though for some reason the webpage wasn't showing her review score. I will have to double check, see what might be going on with that. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a 9 out of 10. She gave it a 9 out of 10. All right, so here's the command center. So this looks like this is the outside. So it looks like we've got a tower, a stable. This almost looks like a moat house almost. Kevin R. Smith says, Command Center sounds like it should be a Starfinder Flip-Mat. I thought the same exact thing. I did. I thought the same exact thing. When I saw it was called Command Center, I double checked. And I was like, is that a Starfinder Flip-Mat? I was like, nope, it is Pathfinder. And then this is an interior that's completely unrelated to the other side. All right, okay. There we go. As I always point out, you can use wet and dry erase, even permanent marker on these, as long as you use a wet or dry erase on top of that permanent marker. And because of the way these are scaled, these make for great mats to utilize with skirmish level miniatures games. All right, so that is a peek at the Flip-Mat Command Center. Next up, we have got, this box is hefty, the NPC battle cards. Well, NPC core battle cards. I'll get the shrink off of this. And we'll take a look at the back here. Faces friendly and fiendish. The soldiers, courtiers, criminals, and more from Pathfinder NPC Core make a grand entrance with Pathfinder NPC Core battle cards. This box of over 350 cards showcases non-player characters with visuals perfect for fights and role-playing scenes. Each card features a beautiful full-color image of a character from NPC Core on one side, while the other side provides that creature's statistics for quick, easy reference. Show your players who they're facing while keeping the NPC's abilities at the ready. Watch your games come alive. Kathy Evans is joining us in chat. And look at the size of these cards. Look how we got quite a few decks here. We are not going to look at all of these decks, but I will lay these out so you can get a better look at some of the artwork here. I think we can sneak that in here. All right. So let me get my hobby knife and try not to stab myself with it. Okay, so this is the sniper. As far as the stat blocks, we'll get their perception, languages, skills, get their attributes as far as their bonuses, items. So it's an arquebus, a dagger with a silencer. How are you going to put a silencer on an arquebus? Can you put a silencer on a blunderbuss? So, of course, we get their armor class, their save modifiers, hit points, speed, and then, of course, we get their actions. So, a 2-point action is the concussive shot. Give you an example of that. Mike says they had a chance to get a life-size Pathfinder goblin statue at an unclaimed freight store. They regret not getting it. Wife would have loved it, right? Yes, Mike, your wife would have loved it. I have seen the life-size kobolds that they've got. I love them. I love the life-size kobolds. You know, I think I have seen the goblin in the past as well. All right, let's take a look at a couple more. So that is the ship captain. So their special abilities, the dual disarm. Captain makes 2 strikes, one with their rapier and one with their main gauche in either order. If both strikes hit, the ship captain can attempt to disarm the target. Their multiple attack penalty increases only after all the attacks are made. And then there is no quarter. The captain orders their shipmates to fight without mercy. All allied creatures of equal or lower level within 20 feet of the ship captain. They may gain a +1 status bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls until the end of the ship captain's next turn. So there we have that. So we got a variety of different NPCs. Here we have the Rancorous Priesthood. I guess it would be Rancorous, wouldn't it? Troop spell casting. When the Rancorous Priesthood casts a spell that is an area of a burst, cone, or line and doesn't have a duration, increase the area of that spell. Add 5 feet to the radius of a burst that normally has a radius of at least 10 feet. Add 5 feet to the length of a cone or line that is normally 15 feet long or smaller. Add 10 feet to the length of a larger cone. Then we have Wild Swing. So it could be 1 to 3 action points. And the members of the mob wildly swing their weapons in a chaotic attack at each enemy in a 5-foot emanation with a DC 25 basic reflex save. Damage depends on the number of actions. Holy cow, it could be all the way up to 3d12 plus 9. Yikes. Yowza. What do we got here? It's like a sorceress of some kind, maybe? Oh, a prophet. So they have divine spontaneous spells, bless, enfeeble, heal, sanctuary, as well as cantrips, daze, detect magic, guidance, know the way, light, read aura. So this is a fairly weak NPC. Let's see what else we got. Oh, a phalanx. That's going to be my guess. It is a phalanx formation. So they can hurl javelins, spears out. The phalanx formation thrusts their long spears out in all directions, striking all unfortunate enough to be near them. Each enemy in a 10-foot emanation must attempt a DC 21 basic reflex save. Damage depends on the number of actions. Then we also have shields up. The phalanx formation raises their shield to protect one another. The formation gains a +2 circumstance bonus to AC and reflex until the start of their next turn. This bonus increases to +3 against physical ranged attacks. Nice. So as you can see, we got loads of these. I would take a guess there might be a handful that might have 2 cards for the same. So there's a musketeer. One for all. The musketeer is wielding a single one-handed weapon in one hand, has her other hand free, so that is a requirement. The musketeer grants a +1 circumstance bonus to armor class to themselves until the start of their next turn. Allies also gain this bonus while adjacent to the musketeer. If a creature would benefit from more than one creature's one for all ability, the bonus is +2 instead of +1. We also have sneak attacks. They deal an extra 1d6 precision damage to off-guard creatures. Very nice. I'm digging this. I like how big these cards are. Pete Stracklet says the Pathfinder Goblin is their preferred goblin. I have to say that whatever fantasy role-playing game I might be running, my goblins are always the goblins from Pathfinder, where they're, kind of crazy, kind of wild, unruly, aren't afraid to screw things up. All right, so this is the NPC Core Battle Cards box. This will carry an MSRP of $54.99. If you want to just get the PDF, you can do so for $19.99. Next up, we're going to take a look at the first chapter of the final of the monthly Pathfinder Adventure Paths. That's right. It's Revenge of the Rune Lords. So we kicked off Pathfinder originally with the Rise of the Rune Lords. I do believe, I'm sure somebody in chat is going to be able to tell me if that's the case, but I thought that was the first adventure path. I thought it was Rise of the Rune Lords. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know anything about that adventure path. I wasn't sharing Pathfinder, coverage back at that time, but this is going to be our finale. So it is Lord of the Trinity Star. The Rune Lords rise again as Queen Sortian prepares to unveil a portal that will link her mountaintop city with the rest of the world. She invites heroes from throughout the land to take part in the festivities. But in the days leading up to the ceremony, a strange cult mobilizes in the city's shadows. Who is the mysterious leader of these cultists? A group known as the Risen of the Trinity Star. And can their plans be stopped before disaster racks the saga lands? The Revenge of the Rune Lords adventure path begins with Lord of the Trinity Star, a complete adventure for 12th through 14th level mythic characters. Wow. Sweet. So our final adventure path is probably going to take the player characters to level 20. That would be my guess. Will probably be 15 through 17 with the next chapter, and then 18 through 20, because this is a 3-parter. Okay, so have to mention this is an adventure we're going to be taking a peek at here. So if you are a player and your game master is picking this up, maybe they've already ordered it, maybe they're planning on grabbing this. Even though I have not taken a peek inside this, there are going to be some spoilers, because we are going to kind of take a look at the synopses for each of the chapters of this. And of course, as I flip through, you are going to see some things that will probably ruin some of the surprises of this adventure. It's also important for the... How about speaking English, Jeff? I'm telling you, that update right before when I sat there going, come on, let's go. Come on, Windows, damn you. It's kind of thrown me off. It's going to throw me off for today. The man that said that Goblin Cook reminded them of a character in a Pathfinder 2nd Edition game they play in. He's an alchemist that uses a frying pan in melee very effectively, too. Nice. That's cool. Beats Ragwood says NPC cards are definitely a plus. Would be much better as system neutral, though. If they were system neutral, you wouldn't really have much on the back as far as stat blocks. Captain Infinity Time Travel Police is with us. Anywho, what I was going to say before I got all tongue-tied, our friends over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to provide us with these review items. But keep in mind, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. And Sammy will be reviewing the final adventure path for Pathfinder. So those will be written reviews. Keep your eyes peeled. She already has the PDF for this, but I am awaiting her review for the finale of the current adventure path. So this is written by Michelle Y. Kim. We've got some additional writing from Jeremy Korf, Stephen T. Helt, James Jacobs, and Aaron Roberts. Oh, get ready. Here we go. I see right off the bat, we're going to have some nigh impossible to pronounce names jumping out. Agile Monk is with us in chat. Good to see you once again, Agile Monk. It says, Rune Lord Xandergul's rule over the nation of Jinsirushin. Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Lasted from the dawn of Thassalon to its fall. He was the first Rune Lord to attain mythic power, the source he used to secretly establish himself as the force behind one of Thassalon's most widespread and mysterious regions, the cult of the Peacock Spirit. Yet for all his powers, not even Xandergul could withstand Earthfall, and when fire came from the skies, he was forced to retreat into stasis within an extraplanar shelter hidden within his own rune well, a domain known as the Eye of Arrogance. So it looks like they have escaped. So we've got our campaign summary here with the 3 parts. There you go. 15 to 17, 18 to 20, just like I thought. When Gorum, the god of war, was slain by Ichakik, the god of assassins, reverberations spread through all worlds on which the Lord in Iron was worshipped. The god's reign filled the skies, and pieces of Gorum's body hurtled down to scatter fragments that would become known in time as war shards. These fragments contained great power. Each was unique, yet the magic found within was potent indeed. Mortals scrambled to recover these war shards in the days, months, and years to follow the god's reign. Yet not all of what fell from the skies during the god's reign proved so easy to track down and claim. In the skies above the Kodar Mountains, many beheld the sight of a falling star with 3 tails, one red, one black, and one a spectacle of iridescent energy. Witnesses watched as this so-called Trinity Star crashed somewhere within the western heights of the range, and a race was on to recover this unusual war shard. Okay. So I'm just taking a look to see what's going on. How do we get our player characters involved in this? So there's a grand portal going to be activated, and the player characters have arrived in Urthina? Eurythenia. I swear. It's like, these authors, come on. We joke about it all the time. It's like, did you even try pronouncing this before you wrote this? It's like, no. So there's some discussion of some prior adventure paths for Pathfinder. Kevin King is joining us. So, is there a story relationship linking Rise of the Rune Lords, Seven Dooms for Sandpoint, and this? I don't know. So we know we have a new Rune Lord. So the player characters are arriving in this city to take part in this portal's opening. Looks like they get to meet the queen. Well, you figured player characters are level 12. So I guess they would be high enough level, maybe be rubbing elbows with the royalty. Looks like our first chapter is relatively long as well. Then we get into our second chapter here. So it looks like the queen's gone missing, with Sorshin missing and the city in chaos. There's no time to dawdle. Disasters continue to plague the city as aftershocks and landslides strike every few hours, while at the same time all manner of monsters who've long lurked in the dark, hidden corners of the ancient Rune Lord capital rouse and clamber into the streets above. At the same time, the city's populace show their true colors, being it rising to the challenge to organize defenses and protect their neighbors, or taking advantage of the devastation and mayhem to loot and plunder. As the PCs recover from their fight against the Irons of Jandalay, give them time to heal up and regroup. During this time, the landslide and release of magical energy from the collapse of Karzug's visage at the top of Mihir Massif and the destruction of the pinnacle of avarice comes to a slow halt. Jeez. There's the city again. It's 2 miles away from the event, but the debris field of the collapse makes it halfway to the city's northern edge before coming to a halt. Looks pretty wild. This chapter presents the PCs with an unusual challenge, one suited toward heroes of their mythic stature. The organization and execution of a citywide evacuation through some of the most inhospitable terrain in the Saga lands. During the first half, the PCs work to gather support in the city, bolster the morale of its citizens, and prepare for the journey south. During the second half, they'll command this exodus, leading the citizens of south to the smaller city of Becker's Crossing in the foothills of the Kodar Mountains. All right. So it looks like this is a relatively sandboxy chapter like we tend to see. For some strange reason, it always seems as if the adventure path releases, they'll be broken up into 3 chapters. And then one of those chapters always has like a lot of little things going on and almost has kind of a sandbox approach where it's like, well, you can do these in any order. And then the other 2 chapters are pretty standard linear fare. So here's chapter 3, Secrets of Pride. With the Ruthenian refugees safe at Becker's Crossing, the PCs are now free to follow up on the clues they've uncovered about the risen of the Trinity Star. Though they don't know the cult's true motivations, they do know it's been working with seemingly revived Rune Lords and that it engineered the destruction of unpronounceable city. Yava can encourage the PCs to continue investigating. If you need an NPC to give them a gentle push, she suggests they take Kandurvik up on his invitation to speak, as this could help them deduce what their next steps should be. This adventure assumes the PCs do so, but if they avoid this, you'll want to find a different way for them to learn that the risen of the Trinity Star hail from the ruins of the unpronounceable city. So they are mythic characters. So it looks like this is actually going to carry on from the current adventure path, although it doesn't look like it has the same Greek sort of mythology influence to it. But the player characters are sort of, I think they wrap up as demigods in that. Like I said, Sammy's got her review of the finale to that on the horizon. We should have it this week. All right, so now we'll get into some information about Nocticula. It's perhaps no surprise that the Redeemer Queen, protector of society's outcasts and patron to its marginalized artists, is herself a product of redemption. Once feared as the demon lord of assassins, darkness, and lust, Nocticula left her past behind during her ascension to divinity and dedicated herself to a new role as a guardian of exiles, defender of artists, and champion of midnight. So we're getting more information about that deity. We're going to get information about being a priest. Yeah, but just talks about being a priest. It's not giving like player character options. So we got our adventure toolbox, Thessalonian treasures. Looks like we've got items there and the Avenging Rune Lord. So we have some Rune Lord feats. This is something else, I think, right? Yep. Heroic Scion. Time Racked. I guess we're going to see the characters take on some even more kind of mythic abilities here. We have the Warshard Warrior. Now I think we're going to get into our bestiary. Yep. So we've got some new creatures here. And we've got our important NPC, Ayava, renowned sculptor and priestess. And this clocks in at 94 pages. This will carry an MSRP of $29.99. And in PDF, you'll be able to get this for $19.99. We are going to take a look at the Starfinder adventure path in just a few moments. But first, I did want to take just a little bit of time to remind you, if you enjoy the Gaming Gang, you've got a few ways you can support the outlet. First, you can utilize our affiliate links to the One Bookshelf sites, such as DriveThruRPG. All you have to do is visit thegaminggang.com, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way to supporting the outlet. Of course, if you like this video, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, a couple more ways you can support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Go Cubs. Or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. And of course, you will find links down in the show notes. Also in the show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. During all the live shows, I'd like to give a shout out to our Patreon members. So big thank you to our $5 tier, Gustavo Cavalho, Jason Lawman, Gaval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, and Talzek. Our $10 tier are Dan Webb, GameCat, Kevin King, Pete Straklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM. And our $25 tier members, we've got Agile Monk, Matt W., and The Madman. So Mike says, wish their artist or their art style did graphic novels for guys who don't read well. Yes. So we're going to jump in and take a look at Starfinder Guilt of the Grave World in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Yes, there's an air about hot coffee that's hard to resist. Full-bodied, refreshing hot coffee makes any time a pleasant interlude. Won't you have some now?
By beech nut, by gum, by beech nut, by gum, the flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, by beech nut, by gum.
More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. Like new Beech Nut Fruit Stripe Gum with 5 different flavors in every pack. Lime stripe, lemon stripe, orange stripe, mixed fruit and cherry stripe. And there's extra flavor in every colorful stripe. For flavor that starts lively, stays lively, buy Beech Nut, buy gum.
More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. The flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, by gum. More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. The flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, the flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively. By beech nut, by gum, by beech nut, by gum.
Let's stop and make a pot of Wilkins coffee.
Keep going. I don't like coffee.
It happened that way, moving west.
Come on, darling.
The seventh planet, a world with a seventh sense. Can they make things and people appear and disappear?
Who opened the airlock?
Have they new and terrifying powers of mind over matter?
His arm's frozen.
Can they reach deep into your subconscious to make you feel terrors more horrifying than you know of?
Give us an hour. If we don't show up, you'll know you don't have to wait any longer.
You have come to destroy me. But my weapons are more powerful than yours. Your own fears have created the means of your destruction.
Hey, don't you be probing Uranus. It's Uranus. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Some discussion of the Pathfinder comics. Yes, it is Dynamite Entertainment that has published them. I haven't seen, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen any new Pathfinder comics from Dynamite. They released a few. And yes, who was it that just mentioned? Kevin King pointed out that Jim Zub was writing some of them. That is correct. Yeah, because we've shared, every Sunday we've got the new comics coming out from the major publishers. And yeah, I've seen the Pathfinder stuff from time to time. Kevin R. Smith says probing Uranus sounds unpleasant. Though Pete Straglich does point out, if you're traveling from outside the solar system toward the sun, Earth is the seventh planet. Would it be the seventh? Even though, well, at that time, Pluto was considered a planet. Kevin King says, movies like this are why we got Rocky Horror Picture Show and MST3K. All right. So we are going to wrap up our Paizo preview with a peek inside Starfinder Guilt of the Grave World. This will carry an MSRP of $44.99. You'll be able to get the PDF for $19.99. This is an example of what the quarterly adventure paths are going to look like. So this is the first Starfinder adventure path. And then January, we get one, I believe it is January, that will get the first of the quarterly Pathfinder adventure paths. So let's take a look at the back here. Discover secrets from beyond the grave. I should have said it like from beyond the grave. When a group of galactic heroes for hire take on a job for a dwarven mining conglomerate, they make a discovery that challenges recorded history and pulls them into a deadly conflict with the Corpse Fleet, an armada of evil undead who want to turn the galaxy into a grave. Guilt of the Grave World is a 5-part Starfinder adventure path with themes of exploration, horror, and wacky pop culture for first-level characters. If the heroes can survive the trials that await them on the Grave World and beyond, they'll reach 5th level by the end of this adventure path. In addition to an epic story, this book presents new tools to flesh out your campaign. Talks about them, but we are going to take a peek inside. We'll find out ourselves. Oh, it's kind of wacky. Sort of wacky there. Kevin R. Smith says, yes, technically Venus is now the 7th planet. So this is written by Michael Bramnick. Got to say, paper stock's pretty thin. It's kind of what we've had in the past from Paizo releases. I mean, it's not terrible, but it is actually very similar to what we used to see from Wizards of the Coast for 5e. So we've got our introduction. We've got our 5 chapters. We've got an advancement track. We got a note from Captain Concierge. If you recall, we've seen Captain Concierge before. The goal of this book is to provide an epic high-stakes adventure that's playable at the launch of Starfinder 2nd Edition. Due to timing, there may be inconsistencies between the creature stat blocks included in this book and those published in Starfinder Alien Core. All stat blocks here are superseded by the final versions printed in Alien Core. Alien Core comes out in November, I believe. So here is our introduction. Yes, it's pretty wild. Yeah, give me a high five. Long ago, the phenomenon known as the gap altered or erased countless moments and memories from history, leaving some of the galaxy's most important events forgotten or misremembered. Thus, it's now commonly believed that long before the gap, a devastating attack against the twin worlds Demiar and Iovo destroyed both planets. This event left a huge scattered field of debris that eventually settled into an asteroid belt and became known as the Diaspora, where desperate survivors of the ruined worlds clung to the wreckage and tried to rebuild. Why are we running across that word all the time now? Diaspora. We saw that in the new edition of Coriolis from Free League Publishing. There was something else I was just reading that I think it was something I did a review of, that they had mentioned that a few times. Now we got it again, and people are just digging that word. I guess it's the word of the month. It says, what if the truth of this event was lost to the gap? The Corpse Fleet is one of the most fearsome threats to the peoples of the Pact Worlds. Formed of traditionalist, xenophobic, undead military from the planet Eox, the Corpse Fleet defected early in the Pact Worlds conflict with the Vescarium. The rebel group of unliving privateers departed into the vast, where they established hidden bases and facilities. Their plan was to mount a glorious return to Eox and save their home world from Vescarium Imperial forces when the Pact Worlds Alliance inevitably failed to defend their home system from the invaders. But the Pact Worlds didn't fail. The Corpse Fleet needed a new strategy. Undying Admiral Shethrava established a mobile shipyard called Barrow and dispatched his elite admirals to gather resources, take over territory, and add new forces to the rank and file. In the centuries since their formation, the Corpse Fleet has become a formidable presence in the vast, with several task forces making forays into the Pact Worlds and elsewhere in near space. All right, so getting some info as far as our background. So we've got some new backgrounds for our player characters. If they come from the Ulrika, yeah, I think that's what it says. The Ulrika clan holdings. So we got Clan Sworn, Chevalier, Society Scout, Green Activist. Of course, I am going to be skipping some pages here. So this is going to be our first chapter, I believe. This is when they're going to go work. The player characters are going to work for the Dwarven mining conglomerate. The adventure begins on Absalom Station, the famous port of call and trade nexus that's always a short flight from anywhere in the galaxy. Each of the heroes has received an invitation from their acquaintance, Emozi, to meet for breakfast at Crozinarde, a gourmet pastry shop in the Drifters End neighborhood. So they're going to offer them a job, it looks like. Then they're going to find themselves in that mine. And it looks like we already have some undead that they're going to have to deal with. Then we've got World of the Dead, spearheaded by the success of their expedition to the Librian space station. The player characters have uncovered a lost piece of Pact World's history and sparked new questions about the fate of Iovo and what the presence of Librians on and around its surface before its supposed destruction could mean. After taking some time to relax and recharge on Star Citadel Theradrain, the PCs hear from Emozi, who's been in touch with representatives from Ulrika Clan Holdings, as well as the PC's sponsoring organizations. So they get offered a follow-up job. Kevin King asked, kind of hard to tell on their screen, is this new quarterly format a small hardcover? Yes, it is. I think it clocks in around 124 to 128 pages. So are we going to have, looks like we got a problem with the trip. This is first class disaster. Over the dead hills. It says having attitude. Friendly, helpful, hostile, indifferent, and unfriendly are all conditions described in Starfinder GM Core that characterize an NPC's attitude toward another creature. PCs can use roleplay and skill checks to influence that character and change how they behave during a scene. This part of the adventure uses an influence encounter to determine an arena's attitude, but it's just one example of how GMs might present a social encounter. So I guess this is actually kind of lining up as an introductory adventure with some tips here. Yep. Corpse Fleet Junior Officer. Right, so this is Chapter 3, Halls of the Living. Now that they finally reached the Halls of the Living, the player characters have gotten closer to their goal of meeting living Librians whose genetic code can unlock the mystery of the space station the PCs explored in the diaspora. I should mention I will be reviewing this adventure. We got the last Librian. Into the Drift. Having uncovered a secret of the Pact Worlds that has remained hidden for thousands of years before the Gap, the heroes have the rare opportunity to change the destiny of their solar system. The task won't be simple, nor without opposition. The Corpse Fleet has stolen the asteroid-encrusted space station needed to summon Iovo back from the astral plane and brought it to their shipyard. Fortunately, the PC's new benefactor, Zol, has a plan. Some discussion of drift travel. I swear, I saw that and I thought, is that a pool table? It's a ship. Looks like it might be supposed to be a carrier. The Defiance. But it is a capital ship. You can tell that. All right. And then the last chapter, Robbing the Barrow. Now at the end of their journey through the drift, the PC's biggest challenge looms ahead of them. Guided only by the data Zol provided, the PCs find a way past Barrow's defenses, infiltrate the facility where the asteroid's being stored, and steal it back. All right. Solid artwork throughout. And then we get into some additional material. So we have adventures on Eox. This is during the events of Guilt. Oh, isn't that what I said? Yeah, Guilt of the Grave World. I'm going to say, did I say Guilt on the Grave World? I'm like, no, it's of. Guilt of the Grave World, the characters explore several landmarks on Eox, a packed world governed entirely by powerful undead oligarchs called Bone Sages. For more information about Eox, refer to Galaxy Guide, GM Core, and Player Core. Some groups might want to spend more time exploring the locations on Eox introduced in this adventure path, especially while they have some downtime. So this article is providing some options for more adventuring. So we have our adventure toolbox. So we have some new weapons, the block thrower, the ivory chompers. Oh, it wasn't Zol, it's Zo exclamation point. Was their ally. Bone speaker bobblehead. Okay. Then we have the option of playing in Librian. So we have a new race. New species, I guess we'll say. I think that's how I recall. That's how Starfinder refers to the various different cultures. You also have an option of playing as corpse folk. That's kind of interesting. And then different feats. And then we get into our NPC gallery. It's Jazzy Malsavis. It's kind of funny. It says CO exclamation point. The person who would eventually become a galactic superstar, media mogul, and fearsome bone sage wasn't always accustomed to fame and fortune. Born to an unremarkable family of Librian serfs and rural Eox, Amzavar was a precocious child. He showed early signs of arcane aptitude, like many of his ancestors, but he also had a flair for drama rarely seen in cerebral Librian culture. I was going to say, I think they become like undead. I think Zoe is this character on the cover. Kevin Cake says 5 chapters, 18 pages on average, single session per chapter. I don't know. I got to say, it looked like a little bit more than that. I would think you should probably get, depending on the various different set pieces and such. And if, as a GM, if you're going to fill in some of the blanks, I would think you should probably be able to get a couple. I think you'd get a couple of sessions out of each chapter from what we saw as we were flipping on through. I will be able to tell you more once I read this and share my review. There you go. Keith McGrath is with us. Welcome aboard. They said they like the art. Very nice. Very cool. So that is a peek inside Starfinder Guilt of the Grave World, which I'm pretty sure I originally said. I know, I'm sitting there thinking, did I say Guilt on the Grave World? I don't think so. This is going to carry an MSRP of $44.99. It's going to arrive in stores on October 8th. If you want to grab the PDF, you'll be able to do so on that same day for $19.99. I got to say, I like the price of the PDF. Yeah, $20. That's pretty cool for a full adventure, because that's how the Pathfinder and Starfinder adventure paths are going to be presented now. Going to be presented as hardcovers on a quarterly basis. Nice. Very nice. All right. So that is it for the Paizo preview for October 2025. Once again, all the items we took a look at tonight are slated to arrive in stores on October 8th. If you're curious about what's cooking the rest of the week, tomorrow we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at World of Battlezoo Indigo Isles from Roll for Combat. This is for 5e. This is also available for Pathfinder. And then we will dive on into the Imperium Maledictum Inquisition GM's Guide on Thursday's show. And then next week, because it is October, it will be October, we are going to dive on in to check out some horror stuff. So as you can see, I've already got the Halloween decorations up behind me. I never go too crazy with the decorations and that, but yeah, just like I've got. Not that anybody's going to be seeing it, but still, it is behind me. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing. We will actually dive on in and take a look next week. We're going to take a look at Old Gods of Appalachia and then Dig Your Own Grave, which is also for Old Gods of Appalachia. This weekend, stay tuned. I will be sharing my review of the Magnus Archives and some short adventures, the Fright Night adventures. You might recall we took a peek at, we did a first look at those, and I did review one of them. I've been saving them for October. I've got some other stuff I've been hanging on to, some, short adventures and stuff that really can't devote a show to doing a first look at, but still. So we're going to get some spooky stuff going for October. I am not going to be doing a spooktacular this year. I might, if you follow me on social media, I might actually post a link to some of my favorites that I have posted on those days so that, if you want to listen to some scary old time radio stuff, you'll have an opportunity to. Man says they really enjoyed the Old Gods of Appalachia podcast that it originated from. I tried to listen to the first episode, and I'll be the first to point out, you could tell that they went back and did some edits. So every time you turned around, it was like they were just hitting you up for money. I was like, what the hell's going on here? How did this become popular? It's like, oh, hey, it's Old Gods of Appalachia. And it's like, ooh, spooky, spooky, spooky. By the way, you want to give us money? It's like, I haven't even heard what's going on yet, man. Why are you hitting me up for money? So I was like, okay, all right. So I let that slide and listen to a little bit more, and it hardly got going. And then all of a sudden it was another advertisement of supporting their Patreon or something. And yes, I know I mentioned my Patreon, but I mentioned it once. And it's usually in an hour and a half, sometimes 2-hour show. Yeah, granted, I do mention it on my reviews and standalone first look videos too. But still, it's once. It's not over and over and over and over again. Kevin King says, lots of good books coming up. Yes, got a lot of cool stuff. Take a peek at. And I've got some pretty cool stuff in transit. I should mention, I've got some extras that I don't know how I got these. I've got an extra copy of the One Ring starter set in shrink. I've got a copy of the Lord of the Rings role-playing core book in shrink. I also have, funny enough, I've got an extra copy of World of Battlezoo Indigo Isles. I remember Steven from Roll for Combat at Gen Con asked me if I had a copy, and I said, yeah, you know what? I think I do. He's like, take one anyway. I was like, okay. The man said, I never paid a cent and listened, but I know they did ask for money an awful lot. They also enjoyed Dark Dice. Seems like they're all like that. I'll tell you what I started listening to quite a long time ago. I got to be honest, I have not kept up as well as I should have. But for about the first 4 or 5 years, lore, good stuff. The narrator took a little getting used to because they had a kind of off kind of off the wall cadence. But then either I got more used to him or he changed it up a little bit. And really, really cool stories. Very, very cool stories. I especially like the episode that he did about Detlef Pass. In fact, there's another show. Oh God, now I can't think of the name of it. Astonishing Legends. It was the astonishing part that it just couldn't click. That I listen to all the time. That's another good podcast where they'll like tackle something weird or, hauntings and stuff like that. And they tend to have, sometimes they'll do multiple episodes. Like they did, I think it was like 4 episodes. This is early on when they first started, about Amelia Earhart. And it's kind of cool because you can tell the hosts are friends, which I always like. You can always tell. So Keith McGrath says, listening to Black Sabbath? I haven't listened to Black Sabbath in years. Long, long time. All righty. That is it for this time out. If you like the show, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Cypher System Rulebook from Monty Cook Games. Yes, now that I have reviewed it, we can start diving on into reviewing some of the genre books. Because it would have been weird trying to review them without having reviewed the rule book itself. So if you're curious about the Cypher System rule book, you'll find out what I think about it. Check out that review. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as I'm normally sharing the tabletop gaming news or flipping through a role-playing game book or unboxing a board game. So it goes a long way. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Of course, I will be back tomorrow. We'll be taking a look at those Indigo Isles. Yay. So everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching. And until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.